Good afternoon. Welcome to Multimedia Development. This is the final project in this course, and what you will see this afternoon is a showcase of some of the work that I have done over the 13-week period, which will include projects as well as just brief highlights of discussions that I've had with my peers. As you can see, this is the homepage of Multimedia Development 2016. On the right hand side, basically it shows the course syllabus, but most importantly it shows the different assignments that we've had for the 13-week. We had 13-week discussions based on the text that we read. Literacy is not enough, and multimedia foundations. Also, there were 4 major projects. Actually, we could say 5 because one of them counted for 2. The first project had to do with Creative Commons and copyright. And as responsible users of digital media, it is important and necessary to be aware of some of the rules that govern using of technology. This was actually a very important concept, and at the beginning I didn't really understand why we had to do it, but as we went deeper and as we delved deeper into the chapter and as we did the project, actually that project was actually setting the foundation for other projects. We had at least 4 exercises to do in that project, and as we looked at the different licenses under the Creative Commons, so we had to understand the different license under Creative Commons, as well as which license was right for whatever job that it is that we are doing. Here is one of the assignments that we had to look at. We had to look at the license feature, answer the questions yes or no, and this would lead us into which one of the license that would be selected for the job. We also had specific assignment, we could call them case studies, in which we had to look at 3 major case studies, and we had to actually decide which license would be the best license for each of these areas. And then we had to post our responses on the discussion and get feedback from each of our peers. This was one of the first projects which actually counted for 2 projects. After this project, we continued posting our discussion chapter, and then we had another project where we had to create our own logo that represented our work, our family, our friends, or something that is very important to us. In this document, as you can see on the screen, it actually gives a brief description as to the different processes that I went through in creating the logo. Here I have the first draft of the logo, which really speaks about my motto: empowering people, impacting lives, and pursuing passion. I wanted it to show the meadow, which is a place of calmness, a place of peace, a place where people can come and find comfort. A mountain, which shows a place of greater heights. And then we had the river, which is really refreshing. And this is the second draft actually, which shows the real impact of the rainbow. In the first draft, as you can see, the rainbow is not really giving the impact that I would want it to impact, that I wanted it to give. And so I had the second draft, and the second draft is much better because you can actually see the different colors of the rainbow. And why did I use a rainbow? I use a rainbow because a rainbow actually speaks of hope, and every color of the rainbow has a particular meaning. And this is really what drove me to using a rainbow, because in the red in rainbow, it represents passion, vitality, enthusiasm, and security. The orange represents creativity, the yellow clarity of thought, wisdom, energy. The green represents fertility, growth, and balance and wealth. The blue represents spirituality and divinity. The indigo represented self-awareness, and violet represented inspiration and high spiritual mastery. So I really like that rainbow because all the colors speaks to what I would like to be remembered as. What is it I would like to give to somebody? And then we had our next project actually had to do with collaboration fluency. And all this was based on literacy is not enough. So we had creative fluency, and then we have collaborative fluency. And in this project, I had to also work with my feedback partner to develop and assess a collaboration fluency. What I had to do for the purpose of this exercise, I had to develop a collaborative fluency for a type of a problem or a project that I will use to solve using online tools. The project for this actually was an actual project, and I used it based on my special education center, the Achievement Learning Center, and with children with special needs. So we were going to have our Down syndrome and autism day, and then so I used that project to actually link it to the collaborative fluency. And then we had to look at how problem-based learning, we had to look at problem-based learning and how we can incorporate the PBL in our life. It was kind of really a challenging for this particular project, because we actually had to see how we can incorporate in our real life situation. But once I started, it started to flow, because I used this paper to write the struggles and the journey to me having my own special needs school. So I used it where I recognized a problem, which was the need for children with special needs to receive services. I recognized that problem, and then I really actually incorporated it in how, despite the many struggles and all the different steps I had to take, because I had to find community teachers, I had to find parents who really wanted to take the leap of faith with us, because that was the first time that we were going to do that. So I was able to incorporate I was able to use the PBL process learning onto how I started my special education school. And then this is my paper. They're basically just highlighting how I did it. And then we had to look at how problem-based learning, we had to look at problem-based learning and how we can incorporate the PBL in our life. It was kind of really a challenging for this particular project. But once I started, it started to flow, because I used this paper to write the struggles and the journey to me having my own special needs school. So I used it where I recognized a problem, which was the need for children with special needs to receive services. I recognized that problem, and then I really actually incorporated it in how, despite the many struggles and all the different steps I had to take, because I had to find community teachers, I had to find parents who really wanted to take the leap of faith with us, because that was the first time that we were going to do that. So I was able to incorporate I was able to use the PBL process learning onto how I started my special education school. And then this is my paper. They're basically just highlighting how I did it, and as I reflect on the achievement of the center, it brings a sense of pride and joy, because we have students who could barely say their names and are using sentences. So the whole process in starting this school, actually, that is how I incorporated the problem-based learning. This is the final project, which is actually the tying of all the learnings that we have done into both from that we have exposed from the readings as well as from our discussions. The discussions were very, very, very informative and very, very rich. Every week we had different discussions on different topics, so it was very interesting just to hear the different perspective on the different ideas. This textbook actually I enjoyed these textbooks much better than this one, because the language in this one was relevant to my field. It was very easy to understand. The language in this one was very, very technical, because it was in an area that I had never ventured before. But I must say that throughout this course, I have a better appreciation for technology and for persons who work in this particular field, especially when I talked about when we read about photography and video editing. It is so much more than we expect. It's so much more than we think. So I do applaud the persons who work in these particular fields.
That's it.